Hey everybody, this is Sam and Raphael, and we're down the red-hot Shelby Park neighborhood today to talk to Mike and Medora Safai, neighborhood pioneers and the owners of Logan Street Market. Not only is it Louisville's first and only open-air market, but it happens to be sitting in one of the faster-growing neighborhoods in the Louisville area.
Surrounded by other thriving, up-and-coming neighborhoods like Germantown, Paristown Point, and Smoketown, there's a lot to be excited about around the area, and we're going in for some inside intel to size up where it's headed next from the vantage point of the businesses making a living there and the residents that help make it all possible. This is your monthly neighborhood update with Sam Heine and Raphael Collazo. How's it going, everybody? Sam and Raphael checking in from Logan Street Market today in red-hot Shelby Park. Sitting here with Mike and Medora Safai, the owners and creators of Logan Street Market, which is just a totally unique and one-of-a-kind space whenever you opened it. Still is today in the Louisville area. How are you all doing today? Thanks for joining us.
Good, thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with this, because it's a one-of-a-kind space and concept in Louisville, but around the country, Cincinnati, Denver, around the world, there are these types of open and airy markets. Was there one or two of those markets that you maybe borrowed some inspiration from as you were plotting out the opening of Logan Street Market back in 2019?
You know, I fell in love with the markets actually, I would say 40 years ago. The first market that I went to, it was in Boston, Quincy Market. And that was before they renovated it. It was, you know, and I just loved that excitement and everything was happening. People was walking around shopping, having fun, eating. You know, the two big ones, because they were similar sizes with ours, I would say it was the Findlay Market in Cincinnati, and then Columbus Market in called
Columbus.
Yeah, but is it called North Market?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, North Market in Columbus, Ohio. Yeah.
Just to transition a little bit in another direction, this is kind of interesting for the folks at home. A lot of people have probably heard of the Safai coffee shops, one on Bardstown Road in the Highlands, one here in the Logan Street Market. A lot of people may not know that there's a Safai Coffee Company up until recently, a larger production facility that you actually bought this building for initially in 2016 to expand that coffee footprint with no plan to open the market. It wasn't until 2019 that the market actually opened alongside the coffee facility. That's an interesting contrast there.
And we very quickly realized that 20,000 square foot building is very hard to find because that's what everybody wants. And so we looked at a whole bunch of buildings around here, and by the time they all needed renovation. So by the time
So our realtor was really smart. So this building wasn't actually listed at the time. He said, "Hey, I have a buddy," but he took us to all these places that like dirt floors, you know. There's like holes in the ceiling. There's like literally sunlight coming through, and we're looking for something that's like can be FDA approved because we were, you know, doing manufacturing for hotel rooms. So we, you know, had to have this nationally approved space. And so, yeah, he was really smart to show us last. He's like, I got a buddy, you know, just do me a favor. You know, I just want to show, I just want him to see your reaction to it. You know, of course, we come in, it's got white floors, you know, everything is like hermetically sealed. I mean, it was just amazing, yeah.
Well, this used to be an American Baker certified building because they distribute to a lot of the grocery stores, and so they have to have, and that's where we were looking to have that certification. So this building, you know, and people that are familiar with the American Baker certification is that 99% of it is your building, you know. Well, when we walked through this building, like we weren't looking for a 60,000 square foot building, you know. We walked in there and we were like, yeah, this works, you know. And we wanted this place to be a place for entrepreneurs that they have an idea that they can come in and they don't have to, you know, sign a long lease. So if the concept doesn't work, the landlord is not chasing you for the next 5 years, collecting rent from you. You know, because if you're going out of business, that means you don't have money, then that's even gonna kill you even worse, you know. Equipment, you're buying equipment and then you end up selling your equipment 10 cents on a dollar. And you know, of course, a lot of entrepreneurs like us, even now, we always miscalculate our overheads cost, you know. Like even with the market, after all the experiences we had, we miscalculated the utilities. You know, we thought, oh, our utility is going to be or $5,000 a month, it's $13,000 a month, you know? And so this was a place that we wanted entrepreneurs come in, no lease requires, you have an idea, we give you the main stuff like your refrigeration and all of that. The place is built out, ready for you to go. Now, if you want to do a touch-up with tiles here, that's your thing, but you don't have to do that. And you can bring your concept, and if it doesn't work, 6 months later, you can just say, well, I tried, it doesn't work, and you can walk out with just all the money you spent with just your inventory, pretty much, you know.
And also testing the market, like so.
Their concept testing.
Right, their concept. What size do people like? What color? What, you know, fragrance or flavor or whatever. And then constantly, like, how often do you have to change your menu for it to be effective? To constantly be bringing people in. We've opened it up as a stepping stone for people to go into a regular brick and mortar. And that's what we wanted it to be. We didn't want to open it up and have it be whatever it is forever and ever. We do have a couple of people who, you know, this is just what they want. And that's great. But we have a lot of people who are taking the opportunity and then growing their business and doing other things with it. Part of the other things that we do is we do our weekend markets, where a pop-up market. So for $35 a day, somebody can come in with just a tabletop and they can, you know, vend from there. I mean, it's very low entry, you know, to try out, you know, your cookie flavors or jewelry or you know, candles or whatever, and it's all locally handmade, artisans. So we're very specific about what we're curating here, to make sure that whenever the guests are coming in, they're not being sold, I don't know, whatever, roofing or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we already have 5 vendors that we call them, they graduated from here, and they went out and expanded. Now, 3 out of 5, they stayed in the Shelbyville area, okay? Breeze, they just opened up Canaries, you know, wine bar down the street. They started out of here. Jimmy's place across the street. Daimoda, these 2 kids started with little space selling used clothes, and now in a huge business down there. And I mean, you know, if you just look at the effect, the chain effect in here. So we brought about 120 to 130 jobs at the market here, right? Now, each person that leaves here, now they open up their own place, they hire 10, 12 more people, okay? So then the next people move in, they start again with 2, 3 people here. Then they open up another place, they move in, they hire 10, 12 people. So if you really calculate this whole thing together, in a 5 or 6 years period of time, because of this market, there is over 900 jobs that was created in Louisville because of this market. Because this is where they started, they got their training, and then they expanded and they hired more people and more people. So it's kind of like a daisy chain effect that, you know, you're pumping out entrepreneurs to go create job and make a good living also.
And not only that, the people who are opening up those businesses, they're training, they're not just giving somebody a job, right? And they're making something, or manufacturing or whatever. They're literally being a mentor and training those people who are working underneath them on how to own and operate a small business. And a lot of times those employees also go off and, you know, start their own business. I mean, that's exactly what happened with Jimmy. His parents came in, they opened up, you know, Billy's Chili and a sandwich shop. And then he was like, I'm gonna, you know, try doing thrifting. I don't get it, but it's a big thing for them, you know, like he's like really blown up with it. He was only 19. So we love that for him, that he found a space to do that here. So
yeah, what a fulfilling backbone of operating a place like this to stimulate the economy like that. I never thought about it like that, but having so many people in and out of businesses growing out and bringing more employees in, that's a big
it's just a chain reaction, you know.
So yeah, it's very interesting, the fact that you had mentioned, you know, the fact that this is really an incubator for businesses. And really, to take it back just briefly to the beginning, obviously you found yourself in a situation where you had the 30,000 square feet of space. You're looking at all these different ways to approach the potential build out for this space, and come to find out, you know, 15 years ago you had this inspiration of creating this, you know, market, and now you have the opportunity to manifest it. As far as the process is concerned for getting it to where it is today, what was that construction process like? Because that's, a lot of people, that probably don't know. I mean, it took a while to get up and running, so.
So it was, yes, it was, I would say that this was one of the biggest challenges that I ever had in my life. First of all, we, even getting a permit for it, it was crazy because nobody knew what to call us. Is that count as a mall? No. Is that a shopping center? No. Well, they didn't even know how to give us what kind of permit to give us, Now, I have to say, city, they helped us a lot. They got all the permitting department together. But it wasn't just that. It was even the financial, because, we had to borrow the money to open this place up. Banks, our bank people, they understood the concept because they were maybe from out of town. But when they would send everything to the underwriters, they're like, what is this place? What does that mean? Well, who owns this? Well, what is that? It was one of the banks, I don't want to say the name, the guy on my loan officer, he says, I need you to come and explain to our underwriter, which this never happens. You never talk to an underwriter. And I remember I walk in this room in downtown, this lady sitting, she was like sitting under the fluorescent light so much, she was pale, and crunching number, and she's like, I'm trying to explain it to her, she's like, I don't get it, I just don't understand it. They just couldn't understand. So that was our biggest, and it wasn't just like the fire department, like, well, what do we put that under? The health department, like, okay, so how do we do this? The ABC licensing. I mean, everybody, it was just a new concept that the city was not, so that was one of our biggest challenges on the construction. Then, of course, getting the financing, that was the second biggest challenge that we had. And then the construction itself, yes, we, even though we got a bid for everything, then it went way over. We went crazy amount over the construction cost. Like our plumbing alone was close to $400,000. I'm like, it's the pipes going on, but these are the things, because we never did anything. We're not a developer, We don't know that stuff. And you know what? There were a lot of people in a paper when we announced it, and they said, he doesn't know what he's doing. And you know what? They were right. I'm not saying they were wrong. They were right. I didn't know what I was doing, but we figured it out. But we didn't know what we were doing. The hoods, like I was like, okay, the hood, I go extra. I overcharge myself for the hood. I say it's going to cost $25,000 per hood. Well, it wasn't. It was $65,000 per hood, But if you see overall what this place has done for Shelby Park, when we moved here, 2016, like my employees were scared to go outside, smoke a cigarette, They're afraid, And you step outside, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, not a soul walking around. It was just cars cruising down here, But now, people are having yoga in the parking lot at 6 in the morning. They are having, you see families moving around. And, the realtors around here tell me that if you look at most of the real estate listing around here for housing and everything, it's all reference to Logan Street Market, block and a half from Logan Street Market. Used to be schools, 2 blocks away from the school, this, but it's all reference. Every real estate you see in Shelby Park, and even Germantown, is reference to how far it's from Logan Street Market, So it has brought a lot in here. Since then, there is tons of businesses are moving here. People are renovating the houses you walk through Shelby Park, you guys, 2016, I would say 30-40% of the houses were all boarded, and you don't see that anymore, you might see 1 or 2 here, but that's it, and so it has really revamped the neighborhood, and it's growing, there's more and more, and businesses are moving here, and more people are moving here, single family, young couples, and this was the anchor that made all of that happen.
Yeah, and it just goes to show the impact an anchor type of investment can make in a community. You see it all across the country where people, there's usually the first mover into the market, they take the biggest risk, and then all of a sudden, as that starts to evolve, you start getting a lot more people coming in, and I'm sure, obviously Sam's in residential, he can comment on the fact that, there's a lot of different houses now that are coming up that are, much more valuable than they were just a few years ago, and on the commercial end, there's a lot of, businesses that are taking advantage.
Oh yeah, and that's just not going to help the employment in the city. When the price of these houses goes up, the property tax revenues that comes 100%. In here. I mean, average house around here was in 2016 was $80,000. Now it's around $200,000. Can you imagine the property tax that city is getting from all of that? And then the state, the sales tax in here. You have 30 businesses that they pay sales tax on the stuff that they sell. So that's the revenue that goes to the state, So it's been good all the way around for everybody.
So, we're very purposeful on who we choose to have come in. I had mentioned earlier, about having local artisans, and having local people. We don't let franchises in. We don't let, anything like that. We don't want it to be, like when you walk into a mall and it's a food court. So it's just, I wanted it to be a unique space, and everything needs to complement each other, right? So, and it's kind of funny because people are always, we have a spice guy down there. And so then, I constantly have spice people asking me, we want to move in too. It's like, no, I already have a spice guy. I need a cookie person now, or I need a whatever now. So, we'll have spaces that'll be available, and they'll be open for a while. And it's not because we're not having people, on a wait list or who aren't interested. It's just we're looking for the right people. Shelby Park is interesting that, it's not like Bardstown Road or Frankfurt Avenue, and I wouldn't ever really want it to grow up and be like that. I love that it's got these little pockets of commercial spaces, and they're spread out all over, and it's all intermixed with all of these homes. I mean, one of the things that we were looking at when we originally, were kind of thinking about this was we are right in the middle of all of these residential neighborhoods, so you've got Germantown, Schnisselburg, Smoketown, Shelby Park. I mean, you've got like all of this, and it's all just homes all around us. It's just, it's a great neighborhood to be in, and the people who live around here are just so supportive.
I will foresee that in 5 years, this neighborhood would be, one of the top places in Louisville to go hang out. People come here, park their cars, and walk up and down the street and go to different places, eat different places. Like we did it last night. We went to Canary and we had a few drinks down there, and then we were hungry. We went across the street to Toasty, had a delicious hamburger, and so that's what this neighborhood eventually going to be. You have so many options to go. More option you have, more people you attract in here.
Well, thank you so much for all the insights you guys shared. It's been an honor to get to know you guys, and really it's awesome to see the impact that you're having on this community, going forward. And we're really excited to see what is in store for what you guys have, and hopefully also the neighborhood as well. So as far as, people wanting to learn more about, the market or any other future projects that you guys are working on, what's the best way to just contact you?
Well,
hello at loganstreetmarket.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the best way.
That's amazing. Well, again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sam, do you want to say anything to close out?
I think you covered it. I appreciate the time you all. This was really insightful, and I hope for the folks at home, I think it covered maybe some of the more humble beginnings of the market. Really interesting to hear how, established businesses got their start, especially in a neighborhood that's as diverse as this one. So,
Well, thank you.
Thank you.